Well, Ulysses, we haven't had a chance to dive into it. We will today. The Rays have acquired and signed Amed Rosario.
And we'll talk about all of the weekend action, or at least some of it, starting right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us anytime. We've had some mailbag questions filtering in. LockedOnRays@gmail.com. All right, Ulysses. Hopefully the listeners can excuse my nasally voice this morning. I got to go to the doctor and see what's up. What's the issue here? I may be dead by tomorrow, so we'll see what happens.
Apparently you're a human being, and we're wavelengthing because we both don't feel so good today on the Monday morning.
Yeah, we need some antihistamines and a lot of water and a rest day, quite frankly. But
that's right.
We will persevere with this episode here. Amed Rosario.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I really was not necessarily expecting this, but I'm pretty excited and pumped that he is part of the organization, signing a 1 year, or I should say having to settle for a 1 year, $1.5 million deal with the Rays. I think some incentives are built in as well. Quite frankly, he was not really on my radar necessarily throughout the offseason, and I thought he would be outside the Rays price range. I mean, based on what Fangraphs and others had projected, he would be a 2-year, multi-year guy with a AAV of $7, $8, $9, $10 million. And alas, the market was not there for him. So he is recoursing and gonna give his shot with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're expecting somebody to be signed for 7, 8, 10 million, and then you hear 1.5, the market was not kind to Amed Rosario. But you know what? Rays Nation is going to welcome him with open arms, because this is a guy. Do you know what I like most about this move, Kev? It's not the 95 OPS plus. It's not whatever else kind of the occasional pop that he can have.
Not the fact he posts. I mean, he posts pretty much each and every year. You can bank on him giving between 142 to 157 games.
All of those you can pinpoint and be like, this is a good signing, which you would be correct. But the thing I like the most about this signing is the Rays front office saying, hey, guys, we learn from our mistakes. We are smart enough to look back, study what we do wrong, analyze it, and then move forward and make a better plan for next season. With this move, what they have shown is that they understand that 2022, they missed the ball. You cannot give the keys to the Ferrari, to the shortstop position of an MLB position, to a rookie and say, okay, go nuts, Taylor Walls, for 450 at-bats. Show us what you got. You cannot do that. And this is exactly them saying, we can't do that. We can't just give it the keys to Caballero. We can't give the keys to Osleivis Basabe, or maybe a Caminero for a sports spot start here and there. You need some veteran depth, a guy that posts, for example, a guy that can give you league average offense like Amed Rosario. Like, you need to kind of fill in that position with some more depth. And that's why I really like this move. This is the Rays saying, hey, we can look back, we can admit our mistakes, and then we can move forward in a better way. And that's all you want from a front office. Like, Rays fans, we are lucky that this is the front office and how they work it out. They're not so egotistical that they think that, we always do the things the right way. That's not that at all. Like, this is them saying, we look back at 2022. That was not a good idea or a plan. We can move forward in a better way.
You need a buffer between the rookies, the next wave of guys, into what you're trying to do. I mean, you go back to 2022, look at how Josh Lowe struggled, and then what he eventually became in 2023. And my understanding, what has been reported, is Rosario is more or less going to play all over the diamond, both middle infield spots as well as corner outfield spots. And that tells me that he's going to spell Brandon Lowe against lefties. He's going to spell or maybe take time away initially from Curtis Mead and Jonathan Aranda and Palacios. And I mean, here's the thing too that needs to be considered. Stu Sternberg's calling me there. I'll have to answer that later. You mentioned the giving the keys to the Ferrari, but also the keys to a damaged vehicle. Brandon Lowe hasn't shown an ability to stay healthy. What if Taylor Walls experiences a setback or isn't the same player he once was? What if something happens to Caballero? So it's good to have that insurance. And I know it's not necessarily the sexiest move, but I think it's a perfect move for what the Rays are looking to do this year. And maybe they're also looking at it from an angle of, okay, now we can really trade Harold Ramirez.
Yeah, and now another car analogy here. It's Amed Rosario is if you're giving your kid their first car, you're not going to give them the BMW. It's not going to be that. You should give them something reliable, a Corolla, something like that, a Honda Civic. Like, they're going to get there. They're going to be safe. Okay. This is a safe option. Like, what this guy can produce. He's done it in the major league field for multiple years. I think his debut year was 2018. So this is a guy that's been there.
He was a free agent. He's got 6+ years in the bigs with 3 different organizations.
So
in 2 different leagues.
Exactly. So, and in a big market like New York as well. So I don't know. I really do think that the depth here helps. I don't disagree with him taking at bats early, at least early in the season, from a Curtis Mead, from a Jonathan Aranda, in those middle infield spots. I would say, however, that maybe this is a kind of not a red flag, more like a yellow flag, saying we might not be able to trade Harold Ramirez.
So you think that they would actually keep Rosario and Ramirez, and somebody's going to have to go to AAA. So maybe it is some of the aforementioned folks there.
Exactly. I do think that this could be like, hey, there's no market right now for a Harold Ramirez. So let's load up on like veteran depth. And then if something falls, an injury or something, then we can have the young kids step up. But I think that might mean Richie Palacios or a Johnny DeLuca not making the team, like one of those two, because I mean, you only have 26 roster spots. So if you've added Amed Rosario, somebody has to go down the wayside. And if you already had planned on Harold Ramirez being traded and he doesn't get traded, well, then that's another guy who gets the boot to AAA.
Yeah, that's a good point. We have more to discuss on this. I should also note that, hey, there was no market for Amed Rosario, really. So maybe there's not much of a market for Harold Ramirez out there at this juncture either. We want you, before we continue, to get buckets. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel. They are America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with what they call quick bets, live same game parlays, exclusive props, and so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn, LOCKEDON, and shoot your shot today. FanDuel, they are the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. And not to say we're going to get into this other acquisition that much, but the Rays also added Yu Chang as well. So they really are loading up on veteran-esque, versatile dudes. I think Yu Chang is maybe a little bit stronger, at least at the shortstop side of things defensively, than Amed Rosario, but it's just they want to cover all their bases. But
it's the depth, like Yu Chang, that helps not only the depth in the competition that we've been talking about in the competition series that we've done in the past this, couple weeks. It's just making it thicker. And that's what you want. And if somebody drops off by injury or something, then you can have a little bit more of a step up than before.
With this acquisition of Rosario, who's the biggest loser on the Rays roster? 26-man, 40-man. Is it Jonathan Aranda? Is it Curtis Mead? Is it one of the other young guys? Is it Taylor Walls? How do you position this?
I think if you look at Curtis Mead, Topkin has been talking about the Rays maybe trying him at shortstop. He's a righty bat. We were talking about he could be the perfect platoon for Brendan Lau. Now you bring in Amed Rosario, who can cover shortstop, who can, like you said, also be a platoon with Brendan Lau. I think it could be Curtis Mead.
Okay.
That could be the guy that takes the lump attack here from this signing, not getting as many at bats, at least in the beginning of the season. I think it would be Curtis Mead. I don't know if you agree.
No, I think that's fair. I think, and here's the thing with Rosario. Like, I know that the defensive metrics hated him last year at short, although in some of the highlights I saw some really amazing plays, but it takes more, it's being able to make the routine plays day in, day out. I wasn't watching him over the course of 162. I just saw a couple highlights here and there, and he can make some really, really athletic maneuvers, whether it's, diving backside or leaping up across his body, making a throw from the knees, whatever it is. But I think that, maybe, and we'll find with Caballero, like if he can really handle the shortstop position, because he has not really done that exclusively. Yeah. So it's kind of a switcheroo there with, maybe Rosario gets more action at second where he's been more used to short, and Caballero vice versa. He's been more used to second and now he's playing more short.
Could it be that the idea was Caballero at short, then you get to camp and you have been talking to Amed Rosario. This didn't happen, he's on your radar. But you look at camp and nothing that you are seeing in camp is really screaming like, oh, this shortstop, Curtis Mead's got it. Caballero's got it. Osleivis Basabe got it. Like, they were like, we should get something out there. So if you get Rosario, does that mean that you didn't really like what you saw from all these guys at shortstop, and you would actually, Caballero, even though that he has been the front runner to take over shortstop, he has played less shortstop in the bigs than second base.
Yeah.
So maybe you're like, you know what? Let's instead shift Rosario to shortstop, and now Caballero can be a little bit more useful to us playing second or possibly third sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, based on what I've heard, I think that it's, as of right now, it is Caballero's the starting shortstop, and Rosario's just going to he's going to be that super utility guy, filling in where needed and working the platoon, when there's a lefty on the mound or late inning substitution. But who knows, something could happen where they just aren't 100% sold on him or so many other guys as well. And here's the thing with Rosario, like, he has proved that he is a major leaguer and he's going to be a major leaguer for a long time. He's a career 272 hitter. He hits the ball all over the field. He's superb versus lefties. And I know we always like to go right to the home runs for power and extra base hits, but look at those doubles and triples numbers. I mean, you can basically, assuming he plays a full season, that you can bank on him to knock in 25 to 30 doubles and 7 to 9 triples. I think he might have led the league in triples one year with 9. So
That's right. And not a horrible base stealer either. Like, he's got some speed. I think.
Yeah, that's the other thing I want to mention is and we talked about this a couple months ago, but you add Rosario into the fold, and you're looking at a incredibly athletic team that's going to be fun to watch, assuming some of the rookie level players are able to step up and contribute. I mean, between Rosario, who is in the 95 percentile in sprint speed, combine that with what Siri can do and Caballero can do and Randy can do and Josh Lowe can do and DeLuca can do. You got some speedsters. You got some fun on that roster.
And you've got a guy who in the last 2 seasons has lowered his K rate under 20%. So that would be another added benefit. Our friend Klosky has always mentioned, like, the last 2 years, the Rays are just a lot of strikeouts and that can leave a lot of opportunities on the bases. So this is a guy that if he continues to do that and lower his K rate and with a good average like he does, 260, 270 average, like, he could put the ball in play, and that would make it a little bit more dynamic. But This is a more athletic move, and I don't dislike it at all. Again, you make the competition way better with this. You make the depth way thicker. And if you're talking about moving him around, say corner outfield, I guess you could. It would be a nice platoon there with Josh Lowe.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think we need to talk more about how Josh Lowe should be
in the lineup every single day, whether it's a lefty, a righty, or an ambidextrous pitcher.
I don't care right now if Randy Johnson comes out of retirement and has chosen to just pitch against the Rays every day.
Yeah.
Josh Lowe should be in the lineup. Like what he did last year is, I honestly still think he's underrated.
I think that's the most understated offensive performance in memory. Nobody's talking about what he's done.
No, and it's amazing. Like, he had a 2030 season, folks. I mean, 32 stolen bags, 20 home runs in basically his first major league season. Yeah. Like, I know he had 290. Yeah, and hit 290. Yeah. And didn't play like a horrible outfield. And the quotes that are coming out of camp, I really am encouraged by it, because it's a guy who is confident in himself and who knows that he can get better, and who just saw his brother do the ultimate thing in the sport, which is winning a World Series.
Right.
And he wants that. And
he's motivated for sure.
Hungry. Yeah.
And I think it goes back to Josh Lowe of 2023 was a lot different than Josh Lowe of 2022. Woo. And I think that the Rays are preparing themselves for the fact that you might have some of that with Aranda and Mead and Caminero and DeLuca and some of these other guys as well. So why not pencil in and mark in Amed Rosario to help with that? And quite frankly, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of some competition. And for some of these guys to learn from an Amed Rosario, where all the articles in the offseason were, hey, here's the shot for Aranda. Here's the shot with Mead. And yeah, that's still true. But now you're going to have to fight and claw a little bit to establish your role and your opportunity, which I don't think is a bad thing.
No, not at all. I think on the contrary, like I feel like Caballero can learn from Rosario and Mead can learn from Rosario. And that's something that you should be happy about. Again, it's just, this is more competition, making the depth way thicker. And that's something that you need to have, because 162 games, a lot of people are going to get hurt. And I know, like, it's time for optimism and all that, but I think realism should never, go by the wayside. Like, people are going to get injured and things happen that you don't want to happen. But you know what? You can always be prepared, Kevin. When something bad happens, eBay Motors is right there for you, because they have everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level up to peak performance. They've got superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and much, much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time, or your money back. With all the parts you need at the prices that you want, it's easy to turn your car into the Josh Lowe of your home. So today, go to ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit. Only available to U.S. customers.
God, Stu Sternberg keeps blowing up my phone. Stu, come on! You know this is recording time. What are you doing here?
Is he happy about our take? Is he upset? What's going on there?
Oh, I think I owe him some money. I think that's the issue. He doesn't
He's like,
care about our take on Amed Rosario. He just wants me to make sure he is paid in full. Quite frankly.
Yeah, he's like, dude, knock it off with the arriving late and no parking fee. I need the parking, $20.
Exactly.
$20.
Before we mention a little thing or two here about spring training, Fangraphs has provided some over-unders for Amed Rosario in 2024. And, well, they've provided projections, and I want to get your over-unders on this. 70 games played this year, over-under.
I'm going to let's say more, because if he's playing more than 70 games, it means he's doing good things for the team.
Right.
More.
Okay.
Over.
Yeah, and that might quite frankly be an adjustment for him because he's always been a full-time player. So where he's going to have to maybe sit a day here and there, it remains to be seen. Plate appearances, 301 over-under.
Over slightly.
Okay.
Slightly.
WRC plus 97 over-under.
Push. I think that's exactly where he's at. 95, 97. Yeah, right around there. Yeah.
1.0 WAR over-under.
Over.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with over. You know, you were talking about the fact of him now being like a part-time player. This could be, you know, a scary thing because you never know how guys are going to change, you know, their methodology or whatever. But if he's used how he should be used, which is against lefties, 280 average and a 112 WRC plus, that plays, baby. That plays if you use him in the right way. So if you just strictly use him that way, like, hey, you're a lefty masher. So basically like a Brennan Lau pair up, like what I thought was going to be what
I think that's kind of the idea. Brandon Lau pair up, and I don't know if I agree with this, but Josh Lowe pair up and giving guy a rest day, or, you know, keeping some of those guys in the lineup as a DH and letting Rosario play the field.
How about this? Let's move it up a little bit. Maybe Caballero sits against righties. No, against lefties. Then you put Rosario at short, and you put Mead at second.
Okay.
You would be losing Caballero against lefties, but then that would be another way of getting Mead at bats.
Right. That would work. Yeah. But what if Caballero proves himself to be a better hitter than Curtis Mead?
Then you would be playing the hot hand. Whoever has it right now is going to get at bats. I don't know. I feel like
there's a lot to be sorted out. That's a lot for Kevin Cash. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to have options, but it's kind of figuring out how you're gonna put the pegs in the holes and whatnot. So and we'll see how the guys look in spring training as well. Speaking of that, spring training has begun. I mean, the weather couldn't be perfect for the opening weekend of Rays spring training throughout baseball. I don't know how it was in Arizona, but in the Grapefruit League, things were afoot on Saturday and Sunday.
This is our yearly reminder.
Disclaimer of spring training stats don't matter.
Which, by the way, the last guys, Locked on Rays everydayers will know, we have gotten so much hate in the last 2 seasons on social media because we've said that spring training stats do not matter. Like, Rays fans have really gotten upset with us during the last couple of years because we have said this. Let them get upset. I mean, if a pitcher has a 13 ERA, he could win the Cy Young. Like, I've seen this. Like, it's spring training stats do not matter. You know when they matter? Confidence level. It would be nice for a guy to feel like, okay, I'm hitting the ball good. Okay, I can start the season, well. Like that matters. And we've talked about they're not just machines or human beings, so that it has an effect. But in whether like, oh man, this guy did so well that he's just going to rake the whole season. No, not at all. I've seen Rid Brainiac or Sean Rodriguez or Elliot Johnson hit 6 bombs in spring training and then do whatever they did in the regular season.
Well, yeah, and like there's so many permutations to this. I mean, in the Rays spring training opener, they used only non-roster pitchers.
Exactly.
Cam Meisner got an inside the park homer on a pop fly. That doesn't happen in the big leagues. That happens in the 7th inning of the second spring training game.
In the way that the ball hit the guy's foot and he just like scorpion kicked it like soccer style.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was. I was watching a Roberto Carlos ad from like the 2002 World Cup. Like that. It was.
You're gonna see some goofiness when you have guys that you've literally never heard of, non-roster invites and prospects out on the field at the same time. I mean, the Rays use Keyshawn Askew, Ian Seymour, and Austin Vernon back to back. They look good, sure, but that's a little bit different than having Phil Maton, Jason Adam, and Pete Fairbanks out there.
Right. So when you say like, oh man, I can't believe they tied, like it doesn't matter. It's not the same Rays team that you're going to be seeing in a month. Like we have to learn to take spring training as, hey, baseball's back. Hey, my player looks good. Hey, that guy got injured.
Hey, that guy looks in good shape. Or hey, the defensive movements and throws are solid. Those are the things that should be focused upon. I mean, there's Felix Hernandez, be like he wouldn't top 90 in the first couple of weeks of spring training. Yeah, I'm just trying to warm up and get settled back in. Jake Fox hit 11 home runs a decade ago in the Grapefruit League. Okay.
So I'm happy that the guys, for example, so this weekend, happy that the Rays were able to come back because they were at a deficit of I think 9-4 at some point.
Yeah.
So they showed grit. They came back. And none of those guys are going to be in the opening day roster. So take that for what it's worth. Like the guys in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. But I really can't take that much away from a 9-9, except for I'm glad they came back. I'm glad that that's the kind of attitude that they have in the dugout.
Yeah, really. I mean, what I'm looking for in spring training, and you might think differently, Ulises, I just want to see Brendan McKay on the mound again. That would
there you go.
bring me some elation. I really don't even care how he looks. I mean, he's had 3 surgeries in 25 months. I just want to watch him out there and see him savor and enjoy that moment as he gets his fastball back and his breaking balls back and all that.
If spring training does not matter, stats. If spring training stats, let's be spring training
stats and record.
Stats and record. If they do not matter, I like what you said, like Brendan McKay. So I want people right now on YouTube write down in the comments. With that being said, stats and results do not matter. What are you looking forward from spring training? Like, what do you take from spring training? Because I think what you just said, Kevin, is a really good example of like, okay, stats and results might not matter, but I want to see Brendan McKay.
You want to watch something. I want to watch Curtis Mead. How is his footwork? How are his movements at shortstop or middle infield?
That's actually what that would be my number one. That would be my number. Like when Curtis Mead gets an opportunity at shortstop, how does he look? How is his range? How are his throws? Like that's what I would focus in on this spring training as a fan. So as a fan, guys, write down in the comments what you are looking forward from spring training.
And maybe it's the ice cold beer or the ice cream or the popcorn or the goofy new jerseys that the players are wearing. It can be it can be an off the wall observation.
The see-through pants. Yeah.
It's bad.
God. It's bad. You can't just have the boys hanging out there for everybody to see, man.
Somebody or multiple somebody screwed the pooch on approving those.
Indeed.
It got designed, then it got approved. It probably went through like 15 different levels, and it still passed it through.
didn't get caught.
Or it was like, hey, we're getting to the deadline. We got to have something. So just roll it out now.
Yeah.
And now they're paying for it, unfortunately. But I mean, people are talking about it. So I guess that's good for baseball. Is
Good for baseball. Yeah. Hey, sex sells. Yeah.
E.T. Barnum. Yeah, that too. No such thing as bad news, PR, all that. But all right, we plan to go do a couple of spring training games, and you should too, because it's a really fun, enjoyable experience for sure. All right. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.